We are back.
We're back.
So today is going to be about Silicon Valley Bank and the banking industry and
Should
just
be.
sharing our 2 cents on it.
Yeah, our 2 cents.
Which obviously this is a topic that is being covered heavily right now.
That's right.
Um, Silicon Valley Bank, basically the federal government had to step in and is basically guaranteeing that above what the FDIC limits are of $250,000, the deposit that they're going to make good on everybody who has deposits over 250,000. So they basically have bailed out this bank. What are your thoughts?
My question would be why? Why do we do this again?
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, this was a startup bank or a bank that used a lot of funds for startup companies, as far as I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And, they made some bad investments.
Yeah.
And so I understand that 90%, if not more, 95% of their depositors are beyond the $250,000
Yeah.
to the tune of billions. And there were some people that got wind of this situation prior to, and apparently up to, and you guys do your own research and check me out, but $46 billion were withdrawn in a very short period of time. So somebody got wind of all this.
Yeah.
And the CEO and CFO and several officers disposed of a lot of shares before they hit zero.
Right.
So, why? Why are we going to use taxpayers' money to bail this out? Why don't we let the wheels of capitalism,
Mm-hmm.
Take over and let it fall where it may?
So the question would be, if the government didn't step in and that were to happen, what would happen to the depositors, the people that had money in those accounts? What would happen to them? If they had, let's say, $1 million in there, do they lose? See, because you put your money in the bank, you think it's safe.
Yes.
But the reality is that this exposes also how fragile the banking system can be, because
Is.
it is, because you put money in the bank and you think it's safe. To come to realize, we're aware of this, you guys do your research, that the bank is lending on the money you put in there. You put $1 in there because of fractional reserve lending, or there's
Yes.
few different names for it.
Yeah.
The bank is going and lending that out 9, 10, 15 times. I've heard different. The point is that
Supposedly 10 times or 9 times.
they're turning your dollar and they're lending it out 9 times, because they make money when they lend it.
That's
collecting
correct.
interest. But then when you say, I want my dollar back, they got all these loans out. And if everybody says, I want my dollar back,
Well, that's what happened. There was a run on the bank.
right, because people were getting wind,
Sure.
because apparently they put out a newsletter or some sort of update to their clients and investors that they took a huge loss and they were going to have to sell some of their positions, investments. Because the bank, that's one thing that I think maybe we're not experts on this topic, but we understand banking. And for me, banking, it's it's a love-hate relationship. Like, you have to work with them. Unless you're buying everything cash. We know
Right.
some people that do that too. But the other side is that the bank doesn't have sometimes the best practices. And, here's a situation where the bank goes, it can't pay back its depositors.
But this was a bank that was most of their. You're talking about big tech companies.
Right.
Okay.
Or startups.
Or startups.
Yeah.
But big tech companies have a lot of money. Why do we have to bail them out? The poor little average taxpayer who's struggling in this inflationary period and period of unemployment. Companies are firing people, letting go people left and right because they need to tighten their
Yeah.
belt because of budget cuts here and there and everywhere. We're seeing businesses struggle. You and I are on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Mm-hmm.
seeing businesses struggle.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Why do we need to bail these people out once again?
That's the thing. It
And
it
now we
wasn't that
got
long ago.
Signature Bank. Signature Bank is another big, huge bank that also was declared insolvent. So we're going to bail them out also. And this is just the beginning of, most likely there's going to be 10 others that go under because,
Yeah. Well, the what this tells me is I think it's the 16th largest bank in the
yes,
U.S.
yes, it
Silicon
is.
Valley Bank, based
Mhm.
out of Silicon Valley,
Yes.
which is San Francisco, California area.
Mhm.
Extremely expensive to live in in Silicon Valley, in San Francisco. You know, at least it's one of the most expensive places in the. I don't know if in the United States for sure, but maybe even in the world. I'm not sure, but
I
for
don't
sure
know
the
that.
United States.
I don't know that. It's expensive.
It's
No
extremely
doubt about
expensive, and so you have. It wasn't that long ago, but what if they're the 16th largest bank in the United States and they're getting bailed out? To me, it means if 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, all of these have issues because they made bad investment decisions at the banks,
And that's the problem.
they're going to have to bail them out.
There should be an accountability on them. Why does the
Yeah.
administration go out and say, "Hey, don't worry about it"? It doesn't matter. Then what are the rules there for?
Yeah.
You know, it's 250,000.
That's the
And
problem.
and
That's the problem.
I understand if somebody, and in the whole scheme of things, there's always the little guy, the medium guy, the large guy, right? But you can go in thresholds. For example, in this kind of regulatory situation with this bank, the guy that has $2, $3 million is probably a little guy, okay?
Yeah.
And then there's the middle guy with 50
Right.
million, and then there's the big guy with 100 or 200 million or
Right.
300 billion. So the little guy there in that threshold is also gonna get hurt
Sure.
if we abide by the rules. Okay? He put $2 million, $3 million. That's a little guy when you're dealing with these tech companies and these
Yeah.
startup companies that they need millions and millions to kick them off, and the tech companies generate tremendous revenue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So why do we have to go to the taxpayer and milk them again? And we're going to have to print a ton of money.
Yeah.
And there goes
Well,
the dilution of our money supply once again.
right.
So one egg is going to cost $5.
And that's what they say inflation is, the hidden tax.
The hidden tax.
Because
We're going to go into hyperinflation. We keep
Yeah.
because there's just not enough printing. I mean, how much money are we going to print?
well so you know what is the if they were to let it, what other options do you have? I mean, if the government doesn't step in, then
Let it
if
let
I
it
put
fall where it may.
yeah, but if I put myself in, let's say, the depositor's
I hear you.
position, it's like, you know, what happens to the money that I had in there, you know? I mean, that's the thing with the banks and the banking systems and that we have, is that
But we can't continue to bail out these, I'm just going to say, irresponsible banks
yeah,
that are doing bad investments and expect the taxpayer to pay for those losses.
yeah, somebody has to, because when they say the government's gonna bail them out, at the end of the day, the government gets its funding from the taxpayers.
Well, they're printing a ton of money, and all they're doing is raising taxes on, the small business owners. They're
Well, no,
milk-
that, I mean, that's one of the things they're doing, but
Well.
you know, but let's get specific,
Okay,
because
let's get specific.
what happened here, if they were to let it, because you're proposing let it fail, right? Let the bank fail. So then what happens to those people who had money in excess of 250,000? hey, you knew there was a risk.
You lose it.
You only are insured up to the FDIC limit of 250,000. So anything over that, you lost it.
That's right.
So, you know, that's tough.
It's a brutal.
It just
yeah,
what
it's brutal.
your money disappears. You go sue the bank. What happens?
Well,
you know?
I mean, you figure out whatever's left over, and then they divvy it up whoever's there. But they're going to lose billions.
The bank would have to sell all of its assets, its real estate holdings, whatever, and then pay off the people.
And they'll get pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, what's frustrating to me, and I want to look more into this because I've done some reading on it, but every single minute new information's coming out, and I saw, and I want everybody should fact check this and double check, but that some of the C-suite of the company, of the bank, was paying themselves bonuses and paying them and selling shares right before.
Right, so they paid bonuses just before the closure of the taking. They paid bonuses to God knows how many people.
Some of the C-suites.
Yeah,
these guys are in this, top in the company.
I mean,
that's
like a slap in the face, man. It's.
They just think they'll be able to get away with it,
and they have.
And that's the thing.
And they have, because here we go. We're gonna print more.
Yeah.
I just don't see how much more, your average citizen can bear the weight of all this stuff that's going on.
Well, from your perspective, because you've seen different cycles in the market, and you've seen crashes in the market, real estate and stock, and so do you think that this is the first of many banks?
I think it is. You already got Signature Bank also that was declared insolvent, I think shortly after Silicon Valley Bank. And I bet you there'll be more. Maybe as we speak. It's been a very busy day. I haven't had a chance to listen to any news or anything, but maybe today another bank went down.
Yeah.
I think it's just the beginning of...
So our perspective is first off as family men, as business owners, as just out there trying to make a living and do good and help people out and make some money and do good things all around, right? Try to find win-win situations. That's our perspective. We, have been in business for a long time. You over, almost 40 years.
Yeah.
I grew up in it, so I guess I can say since maybe I was 15, so over 15 years. But we don't have a perspective from like a political we haven't been in politics.
No.
Our perspective is maybe just more of coming from a citizen, business owner who's maybe frustrated.
Sure.
And we just had a couple meetings today with different business owners, and they shared with us they're seeing also their peers and other businesses that are failing.
Yeah.
And one of the business owners that we saw the other day made a comment about this Silicon Valley Bank bailout, and they shared, he's our buddy, he said they bail out the big guys, but what about the little guys? And that's what you're touching on.
Right.
What about the little guy? He's not going to get bailed out. She's not going to get bailed out. And that's where frustration comes, and that's where we're coming from, a place where we're just hearing people frustrated.
A lot of people are frustrated over this bailout.
People hurting.
Yeah, because they're saying, hey, look, Silicon Bank, all these businesses and startup companies and all these
venture capitalists,
angel capitalists and tech companies, they all have a lot of money.
Yeah.
We're bailing them out.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, we're doing it after the CEOs and vice presidents and this and that paid themselves a bonus. And God knows how much that bonus was.
Yeah.
So, instead of using that money to try to help their depositors, right? They're paying themselves a bonus so they can get the heck out of there and then the other thing, the message we're sending, and I could be wrong on this, folks. Um, eh,
Well, it's just your opinion.
it's
This
just
is
my
your opinion,
opinion,
and
but I think the message we're sending to the other banks that may be on the borderline of it,
yeah,
where they could maybe tighten their belts and carry through, right?
yeah,
Take a look at your budget and your spending sheet, all that stuff,
yeah,
right? And then try to tweak and this and that. But the message we're sending is, hey, go ahead and declare yourself insolvent based on your ledgers and balance sheets and so forth. And
yeah.
don't worry about it because the government's going to foot the bill once again.
Right.
And so that's why I'm thinking it's going to be a cascade of banks that we're going to see fold out.
You know,
Because it's easier to fold out
yeah.
because there's no accountability. There's no
Yeah, you just say, "Hey,
repercussions.
sorry, we're insolvent.
You were sorry, we're
We're
insolvent.
going bankrupt," and the
FDIC, come over. Feds take it over,
and it's interesting because recently you had the whole fiasco with FTX and that Sam Bankman,
Mhm.
I don't know his last name, and the issue where a ton of people lost a ton of money
Yes.
in this, and that was something that wasn't very regulated or not regulated at all.
There you go.
I don't know if any of those guys got bailed out. The
I
investors in that, I don't think there was any protection.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Now, that just happened. Now we're seeing it with a bank here in the United States, in California, and it was interesting. I've heard people say online and in different places, 2007, 2008, 9 won't happen again. The housing market
Oh, I got
crash.
news for you.
They say that won't happen again because lending practices are a lot better now. They got strict on banks and regulation, and they're not doing stated income loans anymore, and they're not doing what is it? What did they call those types of loans where it was no income, no job verification, something like that?
Yeah.
There's a name
Yeah.
abbreviation, but basically, it's not gonna happen again. But then look what's happening now.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying that 2008, 9 is gonna happen right now, but it's scary from a business person point of view.
Absolutely.
And one of my good buddies texted me yesterday and said, "Hey, the bank that carries the loan on my house is one of the ones that went bankrupt. One of the new banks that went bankrupt. The bank that carries the loan on my house. Now they're still gonna collect on that loan. Someone's gonna take it over or whatever. But isn't that it's
The
it's
servicing.
scary.
They're
Yeah,
just
the
transfer
servicing.
the servicing into somebody else, and
Yeah,
they're. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tricky situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't
So what could people do from your perspective?
abide by the rules.
No, I mean
Don't-
your average person. What can your average person do? Because this happened to a bank, let's say very, very wealthy clients, but can it happen to the small guy?
Well, the
girl?
small guy again. Define small.
Let's
Small
say
is
that
somebody that has less
based
than
on-
$250,000. Then they're going to be fined because the FDIC,
is insuring it.
which by the way, is the FDIC solvent? It's the government, so the only way they're solvent is it by printing money. I mean, so anyway, but if you go beyond that point, open a bank account in another bank.
So that's something people can do. Have multiple bank accounts.
Have multiple banks.
Each
and-
account would carry it.
Right, and if you have an account under one person or an account under another person in the same bank, there are different account numbers, so each account is protected up to $250,000. And so now you have $500,000 there. You can open another.
Yeah.
You can go to a credit union, I guess. They
Yeah.
fall under the same banking guidelines, I believe. So they will also be protected up to 250,000.
Wow.
But it's becoming dangerous to have the money in the bank. In fact,
Absolutely.
I was reading something, and again, I'm not very well versed in this, but the article was saying, look, we're destroying our current system. Our current banking system is being shaken to its core.
Yeah.
Because if they're failing and we have a huge collapse, what's going to happen then?
Yeah.
And some people, and I'm not conspiracy theorist, but some people are saying, well, the government wants to start a digital currency,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to push supposedly a digital currency.
Mm.
Well, the problem with that is that they could potentially, and I'm not quite sure about some of the stuff, but they could, if you wanted to buy something with that digital currency, they could have the ability to say, no, we don't want you to buy that. Okay? For example, if you wanted to go buy a gun, they could say, oh, no, we don't want you to buy that gun.
Mm.
Or we're going to turn off X amount of
Yeah.
cash on your account.
I mean, I think it was interesting going back to what happened with Andrew Tate,
Okay.
because his accounts apparently, like, he had different accounts where he was making money based on memberships and different businesses that he had, and apparently some of those accounts were like locked or frozen.
Oh,
So that was really interesting when he got basically canceled or whatever you want to call it. It's just, I've heard Joe Rogan say it and different people, like, okay, it's okay when it's, let's say, the bad guy, who's perceived as a bad guy, but what happens when it can happen to everybody?
didn't you say that happened to that famous rapper that was married to one of the Kardashians?
Oh, did they do it? Oh, I think so. Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Yeah, I think something happened. I know they cut a lot of
Something happened that he said something, maybe
where
it was
they froze his
controversial.
accounts. Yeah,
And they
yeah,
froze some.
yeah. I'm not too
Okay,
sure,
well,
but I know that that's happened before, and so it's like, oh wow, what do you really have control of? And that's the thing.
not much.
I've gone to some places, some venues, concert venues and stuff. They don't accept cash. Some of them, so you have to use a card, right? You have to use a credit system or digital currency if that comes down. So you don't even have the option to use cash in some instances. And the one thing about cash is there's no middleman involved. No one knows of the transaction necessarily, unless of course you disclose it. So, cash is less and less used.
But see, why does the government want to get involved in absolutely every aspect of our life?
Well, I mean, it's
I can't-
there to govern.
Yeah, but no.
It's that's the view that I guess they have, is that it's there. We need it, because if not, it's like
we need the least government interference as possible. That's what we need.
That's your opinion. Some people would say no, we need more, but it's there because
we
need some sort of we need certain things that
we
the
need
government-
infrastructure, we need bridges, we need streets,
protections for people,
protection, police department, fire department. We need some social programs to help people also. But I mean, it's just like to me, it just seems like they're just like, it's never enough.
But this isn't a government. This banking thing is not a government issue. Well,
the government got involved, and they're saying we're going to cover everybody over above the 250,000.
Yeah, because they felt they had to step in. So I guess, like, if you had a business and you were selling pizzas and you weren't watching how much you spend on the ingredients, and you're negative on your pizzas, and you fail because you made bad decisions and you were paying too much for cheese and you weren't charging enough, then
you're blank out of luck.
There's no stepping in. And so that's where it's, I think, a little bit the point of view is that why are they stepping in here? Because a normal business or a normal situation, they're not going to step in. But the other side of it is that this is something that maybe was coming a long time coming and has been kind of postponed, with moratoriums, from tenants not having to pay rent to also
Well, the increase in the interest rates is what killed them.
interest in, yes, because they were
That's
apparently invested in bonds.
Yeah, the increase in the interest rates is what made this go over the edge.
But but there's been a, like, even people having to pay back their mortgage. Remember, there was like a moratorium on banks being able to foreclose on a property, or
Right.
all of that stuff. It just gets pushed. It's
Well,
just being
as they
pushed
say, they kick the
further.
can further down.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I don't know what the answer is. I
No,
don't know how to resolve it.
but
It's way beyond my abilities. Okay.
expertise.
Yeah, it's way beyond it.
No, we
But,
don't.
but
We're not claiming to have the answers. It's
no,
just
I don't know.
something. It seems wrong the way it's being handled.
Correct.
Yeah, and I don't know that them stepping in is the right or wrong thing. You believe that it should be allowed to fail. Let's say, I don't know if maybe there should be a medium, but it doesn't send a good. That's for sure. It doesn't send a good message to
No, because
all
the
the other
people that
banks.
we're talking to, which
Yeah.
are your average business guys and ladies out there, they believe, oh, they're bailing them out because they're Silicon Valley and they've got a lot of money. So they've
Right.
not letting them fail because
Will
it's the elite, their friends, whatever.
would they bail out your credit union? You know what I mean? Who? But then again, they have the FDIC 250,000 security, so they're not as affected as, let's say.
It's a big mess, that's for sure.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting when they said 95%,
Uh-huh.
and we also heard the figure 90% of the people that had accounts at that bank had over $250,000 in that bank account.
So anybody that has that kind of a money, look, the other day we heard a stat that, and I hope to God I'm giving the right, but 68% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
I would say the number is even higher now.
Okay, let's say it's higher, but so I'm misquoting it, but it's a huge amount of Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So anybody that's got $250,000 in the bank is not your average,
Right.
American living paycheck to paycheck. So those people probably have other sources of income. So we're stepping in. I really don't know what the right answer is, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So this is as of January 31st, 2023.
Okay.
64% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. This is according to CNBC. And that was just January this year. Yeah. I mean, since then, a lot's gone down. So maybe it's higher now, but
you're one week away from, you miss one paycheck. You're 1 week away from potentially not being able to pay your rent.
wow.
Or 1 week from, you pay your rent, you can't buy food for your family.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. There was
Yeah.
another stat that is higher. Less than 75% of Americans have more than $1,000 in the bank. Okay? So 64 paycheck to paycheck, and then there's another 75, that's at what? Another 10%?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 11% have less than $1,000 in the bank.
So,
you know.
so what can the average guy do? I think that to end it, wrap it up, we got to still
You tell
find
me, I have no idea.
Well, I think we can't let ourselves get taken down and fall into some sort of. I mean, our friend this morning, business owner, she was sharing that she doesn't watch the news. She can't get into the news, and that's the thing, is that this hits you no matter what, whether you watch the news or not. You're gonna find out about the Silicon Valley Bank, but we can't allow it to take us down and take our energies and not be optimistic. We still have to find a way. Like you say it all the time, you can't lose hope.
No.
And I think if we end with a good positive message, look, get out there, do what you need to do, help people, make money, provide for your family, try to move forward, because you create your own economy, your own bubble, which is your household. And if it means figuring out some other side gig or uh, something that can allow you to
Yeah,
be in a
something
better
where you have to
position.
survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if not, and you just say, it's all going down anyways, that I don't think that's a good
No, it's not.
perspective.
It's not. And it's not all gonna go down, you
No,
know? Be-
no. It's all a cycle.
It's a cycle. And, like we said the other day, some business close. And it's very unfortunate,
Yes.
because some of those businesses have been around for a long time,
Yeah.
but other businesses open.
It's the
So
cycle of.
for every door that closes, there is at least one more door that opens.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it just seems to be getting a little bit harder, but not impossible. So yeah, never lose hope. That's for sure.
No.
But
And
this is our small commentary on this. Um, I'm oblivious to what the answer should be, or how to resolve any of it. It's such a big issue, and you're right. She said the businesswoman that we were with today. She said, "I don't listen to the news anymore.
yeah,
It's very depressing."
yeah. And I have a
And
lot of respect for her.
yeah,
And she's always positive.
yeah,
Actually we were talking about how important the customer experience is, as a business owner,
right,
and or just someone in sales, and how important the experience is for the client. And we were at a place where we were having coffee, and the lady that dropped off the creamer kind of threw them on the table, right? And she made a note, our friend, that the little things like that do matter. And I agree with her. Hey, we all have a bad day, this and that, but those things do matter, the details. And so if we can give the best experience to those we do business with, and build relationships, I think in the long run we'll be okay, as long as we.
And for those out there that are in a position to help, and you're in a position to give back, stay positive, have a great positive attitude, and
Yeah.
help your fellow man, and whatever. We all need a shoulder to lean on from
Yeah.
time to time.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Like on this channel, we want to be, and we appreciate everybody who's listening and been watching. We want to be a positive feed. We want to be a positive experience.
Yes.
And there's always going to be things that go on that are negative, and there's plenty of places that's covered. But we thought we'd touch on this topic because it is something
It's hot right now.
it's affecting everybody.
It is.
Because everybody's thinking what's gonna happen next, and what's gonna happen. And this is just our humble opinions and experiences. And with that, I don't know if you want to add anything else before we wrap it up.
Leave it there.
Okay.
That's good.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you.